Hello and welcome to Miss Hannah Loves Grammar. In this video we'll be considering what Shakespeare's intentions were when he wrote Macbeth, and also what audience reactions might have been at the time that it was first performed. So Shakespeare definitely chose this play with King James I in mind. He wanted to placate him and please him. If nothing else, King James was obsessed with the witches, and he even wrote a book called Demonology, all about his love of the supernatural. But there's a more significant reason why he wrote this play, very much with King James I in mind. He was trying to warn and dissuade his audience from thinking that killing the king, committing regicide or even treason was an acceptable act. He wanted to make clear to them, and in turn please the king, by recognising that killing the king had both a religious and a political significance. And that links back to the importance of the chain of being and the divine right of kings for the audience back then. It was the belief that God chose your place in society. You did not. So showing such ambitious traits as if to overthrow someone in power was you defying God and moving above your station. So this is a stark warning to the audience that their place in society should not be overstepped because God has ordained that. But more than anything else, perhaps Shakespeare is raising awareness of the perils of following the wisdom of witches or anything ungodly. Perhaps we could interpret also that Shakespeare might be reminding men of the time that their role is to lead their household and impart their wife. Ultimately, women, be that the witches or Lady Macbeth, seem to dissuade Macbeth from doing the right things and instead help him plague himself with these deep and dark desires and actually go through with behaving in a very immoral way. These are just some of the possible intentions that Shakespeare had. It's important for you to recognise your own. In order to hit a 7, 8 or a 9 in your analysis, you need to reference at some point in your analysis what Shakespeare's intentions could have been. So these are just a few things to think about. Now let's consider what a Jacobean audience might have felt upon watching this thrilling and entertaining tragedy. In part, I think they would praise the supernatural elements of this plot because it's reenacting the ungodly in a way that is safe for them to observe, and it definitely proves the consequences of following what's supernatural as opposed to accepting that it's an important part of life. Perhaps they'd condemn Macbeth and Lady Macbeth for going against God. Surely an audience at the time would judge these individuals as greedy, selfish and ambitious in a dangerous kind of way. Perhaps it would help an audience reflect and respect their place in society, as reinforced by the chain of being that's being disturbed in the play, and also underlying all of that, an awareness that their Christian values should be accepting that God has chosen their place. Ultimately, reflecting on why it is never good to go against God is part of this whole narrative an audience might have taken away. Once more, though, maybe there's a question of the judgment of women. Lady Macbeth and the witches, they might be seen as responsible for Macbeth's downfall. More so even than the tragic hero himself. So the question to leave yourself pondering as you go into any exam or reflection or essay on this particular topic is, well, which of these reactions that a Jacobean audience had would you still have today upon watching this play? How are the 21st century audience members' reactions different to those of a Jacobean audience? Once you've nailed that, you've got the key to unlocking your own interpretations. Best of luck. Why not subscribe to Miss Hannah Loves Grammar for all things English, literary and grammatical?